Sherry Zyer. I'm VP of eXp Luxury, and I want to welcome you to Luxury Legends and Leaders. We are here every month with some phenomenal agents that always pour into our community, which is really around the world when it comes to the real estate industry, specifically the luxury market. And I will tell you, we've had an incredible week. I'm still off of a high from yesterday's live certification. We have 4 specialty divisions here at eXp Realty, and yesterday was the new home certification. It was absolutely wonderful. My co-host Jeremy Collins, who is here behind the scenes today, always brings the fire, but it's also amazing to see how many realtors out there that are, showing up, getting educated, and really listening from all over the world. But today we have 2 amazing realtors that have not been on Luxury Legends and Leaders, so we would like to welcome them. I have Kyle Mark and Elena Thrasher. You two are so amazing. I love following you online, and I love both of the stories of how we've connected. With Kyle, Kyle served on the Luxury World Tour when we did that. He was a speaker, but I've loved following you, Kyle. You have really, your accolades are amazing. Number 37 in sales volume in Canada, which is absolutely incredible. You're out of the Vancouver area, so definitely welcome to the show. Lena, you absolutely, one story I'm going to tell, and this is for all realtors out there, is we get paid to market. We get paid to really hustle. And you know how I met Elena? She emailed me. She called me. We went all Carrie, call me now. In her listing, she has an amazing story, an iconic listing. So welcome to the show, everyone. We want to kick it off to hear more of your story, a high level intro. I've given you all this, but we are so thrilled to have you, and we look forward to just really opening up. All you listeners out there, thank you for tuning in. If you've got questions, be sure to write them in the chat. But Kyle, let's give your big overview of your real estate career.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first and foremost, thank you so much for having me on. It's always a pleasure to be able to come back here, because my story about growth and success would not be here without eXp, the brand, eXp Luxury, and everything that this amazing company and brokerage and people are all about. The community that you got here and that you have all created is definitely second to none. And that's what's helped me really take things to the next level and put myself in a position where, honestly, if you would ask me this even 2 years ago, I never thought would be possible, right? I just crested past $100 million in sales volume. And a lot of that, I think what has helped me is just the power of proximity, being around the right people, and seeing the people who've gone there before to be able to push those limiting beliefs. And for myself, I'm a very type A individual. I was a firefighter before I got into real estate, had a really bad back injury, needed a back surgery that I suffered in a structure fire. And it pushed me into real estate. And coming from that background, sports background, firefighting, I didn't think I had limiting beliefs. And that was the big thing that changed for me, was identifying the limiting beliefs that I had, and then being around that power of proximity to be able to break those down and then take me to these heights that I thought I could never get to myself.
Yes, I love that. And limiting beliefs, we definitely need to talk more of that as we talk about your journey on, the achievements that you've had, because I am a believer in that. And, so much, if I look back, I used to not work, you just head down, go. And just, you figure out the problems on the way. We live in an industry that there's always something, but definitely leaving those limiting beliefs behind is great. So thank you. All right, Elena, tell us about your story in, I think, Louisiana, and your story of getting into real estate, and a little bit about this amazing listing you have.
Yeah, so this is my 3rd year in real estate. I've actually been in the restaurant industry most of my life, since I was 16. As soon as I turned 16, I went and got a job, and then I worked up until about 3 years ago. From there, I just it was kind of a like it was just a moment decision. I'm like, I've thought about this before. Let's see if it works out, And
Right.
then I joined a team. I put my head down, I worked, and then, a lot of it was just building the systems that I wanted in my business for the type of clientele that I wanted. And that's kind of how I was able to even get into the presence of this listing.
Right. Oh my goodness, that is awesome. But what you said is systems. I love that you've only been in the business 3 years. If you've heard any of our power hours, and really when we go live on these certifications, we have agents that have been in the business 20 plus years, and we have those that are coming into the 2 to 3 years. And again, it's where you are getting the correct systems, the correct branding. And that is, Kyle, you mentioned, I mean, one of the many things I'm most proud of at EXP is if you want it, there is a division for you. There's opportunities for you. There's marketing and branding that is in place, and and way much better. I mean, I am one of those that have been 20 plus years in the business, but a lot of it we did have to do the old school way, and now we've got AI and we've got these big companies and branding and marketing. So, but I will say the world moves quicker now, and it is more instantaneous, and we do have to have better systems. Okay, so Kyle, tell us some of your journey. When you are successful at real estate, I always break it down. If I'm coaching an agent, are you more of a listing agent? Do you work with more buyers? Are you more transactional? Are you more relational? How have you built your sustainable system? And obviously it is to be ranked with this and the sales volume that you do.
Yeah, I think for myself, when I joined, right before I joined EXP, was with another brokerage. I was, like most agents, new to the industry, buyer's agent. And, what Elena said about having those proper systems and, promoting yourself to the type of clientele that you want, I didn't have that locked in. When I came over to EXP with our group, and I started to have those systems and understanding who I wanted to reach to. I'm a dad. I have 2 young kids. I did not want to work 7 days a week, 12, 14-hour days. Not saying that's wrong, but for me in my life, that's not what I wanted. So for me, the way that I saw this happening, where I can, work less, I needed to have higher price points. And unfortunately, in the Vancouver market, we get paid, I think, the least amount in any marketplace in North America. So we're not on a 2.5 or 3%, flat rate. Especially on the buy side, we usually operate around 3.2% on the first 100,000 and 1 to 1.15% on the balance. So I wanted to be focused more on listings because I can charge whatever I want. I'm in control of my paycheck. And now how I've set it up, I essentially get, for every listing that I have, it's 2 buys, right? So it's about that efficiency, getting into those higher price points. So with that, branding and having those systems is what really helped me. So I really stand out as a listing dominant agent, especially with the content marketing that I do using my AI systems, and then letting those listings, produce great results that continue to get me business, because I don't pay for ads. Everything that I do is organic. Most of my leads outside of, referral is either through Instagram or through my YouTube channel.
I love that. And, you say all the key words. I feel like you have been definitely coached very well in life, because it's the limiting beliefs. It is how you go for it, and you put a system in place. Organic and building it like that, the listings last. And when you can get those repeat buyers off of that, and like you said, 2 to 1, that is a great ratio. And we do find that is like pretty much the industry standard when it is done correctly. So I love all of that. We're going to take a deeper dive into taking some of your systems and showing some of the audience, what does that look like from a deeper dive of that. Elena, new to the business, how did you get this first listing? And tell us about the experience of even going to meet and actually winning the listing.
Wow. Okay. So this one was not like, it was more of a relationship. So it's funny how it all kind of happened. I was helping a buyer purchase, like a $150,000 condo, something, nothing crazy. But when I was there, I met them, and they were actually for sale by owners. And so I was, talking to one of the sellers, and he's like, look, I'm trying to do something big, and I might need some help, and I'm looking for the right person, you know? So from there, we just a lot of the market a lot of that came from me being able to know the market really well, and be able to put him in front of the right properties. Not that he knew all of them either way, but from there we had talked about this property often. It wasn't something that we could really get access to, but through determination, we were able to get it. And then it was kind of go time from there, especially with that listing. It was, in the making. From now, it's been about a year that we've been diving on this.
There's a lot to unpack here. First of all, it was $150,000 that you first thought that this buyer was looking for, correct? I mean, that's what led into it. Smaller price. You were never thinking of where this story ends. So, and I know, I mean, for me in life, and I know probably Kyle has these stories, I've worked with so many that it did. I mean, I've worked with somebody that wanted a $250,000 property, and later they ended up buying a $5 million. Like, how do you go from that? Because they don't always tell you what they're thinking. And obviously we, as in, luxury, we've always said it's not a price point, it's service. Because when we're giving that type of service, opportunities like this open up. So that's one of the reasons I'm so passionate about the word service. And it sounds like you did that. And also you must have had his trust. All right. So you got into it. Then what happened? Like, how did the big moment of when did you know about, at what point did you know it was this big of an opportunity?
I really didn't know until the moment that I walked into it. We've talked about it so many times, and because he had a lot of knowledge on the property, but whenever we were able to take a step inside, it was like, wow, I've never seen anything like this. We're in Lafayette, Louisiana. Like, they do not have properties like this. Like, this is going to be huge. So once we walked in there, it was like, okay, like, this could be a life-changing moment, not just for, the seller, not just for me, but for kind of the whole area, But it was just that day he called me up. He's like, all right, you ready to change our lives? I'm like,
let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, it's a cliffhanger. Well, does our audience want her to go on and tell us about it, or do we want to quit? We're like, yes. All right, tell us about this iconic listing. You knew you were onto something special.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about it. I know it has an amazing designer that's tied to it, and like you said, it's a one-of-a-kind property.
Yeah. Wow, this property it was finished building in 2009, and it was fully designed and curated by Monique Bro, who is with Posh Exclusive Interiors. She's actually the president of that, but she went to Italy. She said, we're going to bring Italy here. So it is full curated hand-carved marble. It is like floor to ceiling. It's a 1-acre property in one of the most exclusive subdivisions over here. And it is a fully smart home. The outside is coral stone. There it is right there. 12.5 million. Yeah.
I love it.
Wow. Stunning, beautiful. Just everything is handcrafted, hand designed. It is a palace, an Italian palace.
Yes, in Lafayette, Louisiana.
Yeah, in Lafayette, Louisiana.
Well, we're going to come back to that and how we're going to sell and get this thing done and marketed. Kyle, again, so impressed with your numbers. When we go and speak on just systems, which I love, this is one of my favorite topics. And I love everything you said as, why work 7 days a week? Why work harder? Why not work smarter? We can service our clients better. We can also not get burnout. I mean, this is a lot. If you're 24/7, I tell agents, it will catch up with you. And I know there's a lot of hustle out there, which I always admire, but it's also pacing it where it's longevity. I used to tell my kids this, if it's not sustainable, you're never going to be successful at it. Like, we can all start start in first 90 days, 6 months, even a year. But what about, making it a journey? And I see that's what you've done. You've made it, a career. So when we look at systems in place, you said, I can increase my price point, because what are you going to do? You're either going to have to increase the amount of sales you have, or increase the price point, increase both, or do the commission thing like you talked about. So there's different ways to move the needle. So tell us some of yours. You said you went after it with more higher price point. That was meaning going into the luxury market, obviously. And so tell us about that, and how soon did you see the wins?
Yeah, I think the first thing for anyone who's thinking of getting into those higher price points, which I think everyone should, because I mean, I ended up number 37 in the country doing less than 30 deals, right? Like that's exactly how I would like it. And second off, Elena, that's a beautiful listing. I mean, that's stunning. Congratulations. I haven't seen those photos. Congratulations on that. That's fantastic. But I think for me, things that helped me is personal branding was very, very important. And then not being cheap. Like like realtors have this reputation of being so cheap. I mean, even they don't want to spend $150 on a floor plan. And it's like, okay, if you want people to work with you, they need to see the value. So in investing in yourself, investing in your brand, and investing in those listings to get more property, right? So those were some of the things that I really keyed in on, making sure that essentially when I was having a listing, I was trying to get as much content for it. I talk about this all the time. You need to market yourself just as much as that property. If you're just marketing that property, that's great for your seller. It's not really doing that much for you. So, when we do listing photos, I'm doing lifestyle photos of myself. I'm doing lifestyle videos of myself. I have unending content that I can continue to push out there to get my face in front of people, right? In this space too, and Elena said, she was talking about knowing the market. You need to know the market more so than just, hey, this is how much inventory, this is how much sold. So I really wanted to be an expert in my field. That's what's helped a lot with my YouTube channel. So, understanding in the Canadian markets, what's the Canadian micro and macroeconomic data? What's the macro and micro economic data in my city, in my province? Understanding that so you can actually be predictable in terms of understanding what the market is. Days on market, sales ratio tells a little bit of the story, but the real conduit behind it is what is going on in the community, in the country, in the state or province that you live in. So being that market expert and being able to communicate that message outside to that. And essentially what that has done for me, it brings people to me directly. They see the type of person that I am. They see the work that I put in. So I don't need to be chasing people, cold calling all day, door knocking, all that. I can focus on those systems. Yes, it does cost money. I'm not saying, at first it was uncomfortable when I wasn't making as much as that I do now. But, before a listing goes live, I'm spending thousands and thousands of dollars in terms of the content marketing, setting up the ads, a full service stop to make sure that, it doesn't matter if, you're a $400,000 listing, which in my market is very, very low, or a $3 or $4 million listing, you essentially get the exact same service and creating that standard. Don't cheap out, because what I did is when I wanted to get to that next level, I took those 300, 400, 500,000 apartments that didn't look beautiful, but I still got the best. I found the best photographer. I found the best videographer. I got the best brochures. I did the best ads, and I started building that brand. Everything is an interview. And Elena, I love that because, you never know when you're going to have that conversation. And if Elena was not prepared, she would not be on that call today, but she was prepared. So if you know what you're doing, you know where you want to go, when you have that relationship and you have that conversation, you can get into that position that Elena did. But if you're not there and you're kind of, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, maybe I'll invest in this, maybe, or when I have that $1 million listing, I'll do it. You're going to miss out on those opportunities. And that's, a career defining listing that she has right now. And she's going to be able to use that to continue to, pursue through her career. So super proud of you on that. And that's exactly why you got to do those things, right?
I love that. And you said so many amazing tips. Somebody put that in there and you did. I like that you said, no, I love that you said you worked on your personal brand as well. I feel like that's so important, because in today, how else do you stand out except your personal brand within, they are hiring you, and they are hiring you on what you can do. So our personal brands have to be there. So I love that. The other is, I am such a believer in everything that you said when it comes to, you took your $500,000 properties but you treated those like they were 5 million. And that is in that, with the marketing and the service. And that's what leads to other things. And I love it. Of course, Kyle, you're a big advocate of EXP Luxury, using our brand. And I know you have still your things on top of it. And that's, to me, when you can put those together, one of the things we do when someone joins is a brand lockup, because you already should have your own brand, and I just think it's powerful when the two collide. So all those, again, so much of your success I can see. And again, I love following you on Instagram with all of that. Elena, all right, we've got this. And Jeremy, if you want to pop it back up. Yes, this
Put it back up. Put it back up.
Phenomenal. It's Haven. Okay, so Elena called. She's gotten this activated within EXP Luxury. So yes, it's out there on Haven, Mansion Global. This is one of the Haven ads. So let's talk about, we've got to market and sell this. They trusted you, Elena Thrasher, and here we are talking about it on Luxury Legends and Leaders. What's the plan of attack when it comes to marketing? And this is, to me, one of the best parts of real estate, is I'm so passionate about it, and we have got an amazing product to do. So, and we're here to help you too. So you've got Kyle, you've got me, you've got Jeremy in the background. How are we going to market this?
Oh, well, first of all, thank you, Kyle. I appreciate all of that that you said. But man, it started months prior. It was reaching out to it starts with just a little bit, but you're like trying to find who is in this niche, who are these agents that are selling at an extremely high level and servicing these high level clients. Whether that's real estate agents, whether that's attorneys, or, whoever I could, who deals with them. So it's kind of talking with them. But so it started with that. And then it really started coming up with a marketing strategy. I mean, I talked to several photographers, several videographers, each property is unique. And I had to find the right one to capture this, because one house may require a certain type of social media or media, and another one is completely different. So you really have to know what you're trying to market and who you're trying to market for. So it started with that, coming up with a game plan. What type of lifestyle are we trying to show? And what are the major points to put out towards in social media to make it to truly show what this property has to offer. So it was a lot of work. And then from there, it was, goodness, I've reached out to hundreds of people about it, just kind of like you. Whenever I didn't have an answer, I was trying to find somebody that did. What are your strategies? What do you suggest? It was very collaborative, because there's so much to learn, especially with a listing like this. But
well, you have done an amazing job, and you're an advocate for this seller. Like you said, you've reached out, and look at what you've gotten. You've got press on it. You've got a press release coming. I don't know if it is already, but I know it's out there, and then all these. So you have done just an amazing job with it. And, marketing is big. And, and although you had this opportunity, this is what they're expecting from you. So curious on the buyer. So I don't know anything about Lafayette, Louisiana. Do we think this is going to be a buyer from there, or will this be an investor? Is this someone that just is going to fall in love with this property?
I didn't know, but we actually got a contract on it on Sunday.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh. She was holding out on us till the end.
We did. We got a contract on it on Sunday, Father's Day. So it was exciting.
Oh, wow. So happy Father's Day to somebody, huh?
Yeah. But no, this is somebody that they don't live in state, but the business is tied within Louisiana as a whole. So it was, they saw it, and it was fortunate because not everybody sees the quality that this house has. If this was in Italy, it'd be a completely different story, but it's in Louisiana. So it was, making sure that whoever wanted it truly understood, what this house has to offer. And we found them.
Awesome. Well, I know we'll hear more about this saga, but yes, and anybody that there are ads on it out there, press releases. It is a phenomenal story, and again, congrats, Elena. All right, Kyle, building business. We have been. We are 2026. It has been a tough 4 years for a lot of people in the business, but I also see agents like yourself that have just keep going up. Has the market affected you any, or have you just really worked around it? I mean, how have you navigated it? And I know you're in Vancouver, and I'm more speaking from the United States side.
Yeah, I mean, it's been very tough. I mean, just like many other markets, we've lost thousands of agents who've gone out of business. I think over 70% of agents in our market didn't do a deal last year. I was very fortunate, had a career year last year. This year has been tough. I mean, we have a lot of external things that are happening up here. I mean, we have a foreign buyer ban that was extended another 2 years. So the government agencies were in Canada, and specifically in my province, have done pretty much anything that they can do to cool the real estate market here. So we're about 30% down from the peak in 2021, 2022, when adjusted for inflation, because we have a foreign buyer ban that's been on for about 4 years, 20% foreign buyer taxes if you're like a non-entity but still have a passport. They essentially don't allow you to do short-term rentals. So the whole investor portion of the segment is disappeared. We don't have an avatar for investors really at all anymore. So it's really trains you to look at things outside the box, right? Like Ed Milet, who I love, he always says it doesn't matter what the market is. There's always winners. There's always losers. You have to figure out which camp you want to be in, right? So you have to change your tactics. For me, YouTube was a big one. I'm a big data nerd. So I, invested in the YouTube coach, got that all up and running. And that was a huge pillar of my business at the end of last year and into this year. And just having to see what works. And if you're not auditing your business to see what you're doing, if you love social media and you're spending hours a day on it, and if you look at it and you're not getting any leads and you're not getting any closings, well, maybe you need to audit that and put your time into something else. So in some of these more difficult markets, especially with their price point, I mean, we're at 10 to 11 times the median wage for what property costs here. Like the average wage is about 70,000. Detached still on Vancouver's west side is just under $3 million for a detached home. So it's so out to lunch. So you need to find these people who actually have those funds, and then try to maneuver within that. And by personal branding, information is a way to try to find those people.
Well, and I love that. And your YouTube was phenomenal. Wow. So you did hire a coach. How long have you been doing that? Has it been a year or 2 years? How long has it taken to build this sort of audience?
So YouTube it's a long game, right? You have to be very consistent with it. I was pretty consistent for a while, but I mean, on the back end, why I love YouTube, there's so many analytics. Like as soon as I started being consistent, you got to do 2 videos a week. May of last year, that's when things really started to took off. And I think in the period from like June to December 2025, I did like 120,000 of GCI just from my YouTube. That's everybody coming in. So yes. I find that YouTube, that people trust you when they're in, they have you, they're going to listen to what you're wanting to do. But it's something that is in my calendar. Like yesterday, it's like I have like a 2-hour day where I film 3 to 4 videos. I actually have another podcast. So I film 6 videos every single week. And then I need time to post it and do all of that. But, there's single digits in terms of realtors that are on the platform. But depending on your market, the reason why I got a coach, because a lot of the strong YouTube channels, especially in the States, huge relocation markets, huge new construction markets on the detached side of things. I don't have any of that in my market. Everyone's leaving BC. Everyone's leaving Vancouver. The only new construction is condo that doesn't perform well on YouTube. So that's why I got some coaching to figure out a different type of platform that would incentivize people to reach out. And that was more very data driven and whatnot.
Well, it is one that I know Jeremy and I have been talking about in our, breakouts with luxury and really all the divisions, because it is that searchable, social and the others are not. And like you said, and I feel like people look at it and they're intimidated because there is a lot of competition, but then there's really not if you break it down to your specific area. Because what you said, Kyle, you're so disciplined, you're 2 a week, you've been doing this for a long time, but the dividends are there if you stay at it. So congratulations. And I love that. And if anyone's listening, I hope that inspires you. I always feel like this, there's always a way to win in any market. And it is take an audit of your market. If you want this business bad enough, there are ways. And again, I love realtors like these two that are sharing their successes, sharing their wins. And it inspires us all to, there's always a way, to improve your systems, audit your accounts, and keep moving as we all grow together in the luxury market. So in closing, we've got you up in Vancouver. What's next for your sales goals? And then we're going to see what's next for Elena, since we have got this $12.5 million property under contract.
I think for myself, I mean, like I said, I just crested past 100 million. So my next is I want $1 billion in sales. That's my next goal there. I want to continue to try to get up in those price points. I want to be on Elena's level there in those, those eight figure markets, and getting into that space. So I think also with the advent of AI, I'm doing a lot of work on the back end of kind of taking the foot off a little bit of the gas pedal this year, just so that I can, slow down to run a little bit faster, to be a lot more efficient. So I think the next, just with so much stuff that's going on in that AI space, really understanding how to get going on that. I've built out essentially 26 agents and employees on that space, building them all out to help me be more relational, to get me in those rooms around those people that I want to be around, to help with those business. Because if I want to hit $1 billion in sales, like I need to have some high ticket items and with all of that as well.
I love it. And I love that goal. I love it. And you will hit it. We're rooting for you. So thank you, Kyle. All right, Elena, what's next?
What is next? It's right now, I'm kind of like Kyle said, it's just like kind of slowing down from that and then really focusing in on what my goals are. Now, of course, my goals are to help everybody. This is a different market, but there's a lot of houses that are luxury over here that I don't think they have the capacity that I actually might have, especially in the luxury department. So I'm learning everything that I have available. And I mean, I have a few appointments this week, just being able to show what I have to offer and what I can do and how I can elevate, a lot of these sellers and their listings in all around Acadiana.
I love it. Well, we have two rock stars here. Give them some love for coming in today, sharing their experiences in luxury real estate. We are here every month on Luxury Legends and Leaders. So we will see you next month, and we're going to bring it all about social media and winning the socials game. So see you then.
Thank you so